If I've scheduled this video properly, the 1.18 update should be just about 2 whole blimmin' days away, which I must confess is absolutely insane, as this was announced over a year ago during Minecon Live. Now, I'm not a fellow who doesn't like to go into things blind, so I figured I'd explore the features included in both 1.17 and 1.18. Or, for ease of discussion, a collective Caves and Cliffs update. Let's go! Right, so it is quite apparent that there is clearly different cave generation. Like, look at the size of these things. You'd never find these in the B update. And you see this purple hole? Yeah, that's an amethyst geode. It contains amethyst clusters, which grow from tiny little baby amethysts called amethyst buds. It can also only grow on the amethyst with cracks on it. Oh, by the way, the cracked amethyst can't be obtained by any means possible in survival mode. Additionally, each growth stage is classed as a separate block instead of a block state like wheat. So from now on, the creative menu is entirely screwed. Amethyst buds can be dropped using silk touch, or amethyst clusters can be fortuned to produce amethyst shards, which can also be used to create a spyglass. A spyglass is pretty much just Optifine but for Bedrock players, though for us Java players, it does have a second use, as a cigarette. Around the amethyst geodes is a bunch of off-brand blocks. Here's off-brand diorite, known as calcite, and here's off-brand andesite, known as tuff. Smooth basalt also generates around these geodes, of which are pretty much just normal basalt, but with a texture change. And the smooth basalt can also be acquired by just smelting normal basalt as well. However, you dig a little bit deeper, and look at this! Moldy iron! Nah, I wish. It's actually copper ore. I know, Mojang have been getting real comfortable with adding new ores recently. First netherite, now this! Copper ore can be mined to produce raw copper, which can be smelt into copper ingots. Using this, you can make copper blocks, spyglasses, and lightning rods! By the way, lightning rods literally attract lightning when it's stormy, mate. Want to control the very lightning itself? Grab yourself one of these lads for the cheap price of hitting that subscribe button. Copper can also be made into these wacky blocks of copper, or cut copper slabs, or cut copper stairs, or all of the other copper variants. However, all of the copper variants eventually do one of them like Pokemon evolution thing, from a beta orange color to a Chad turquoise green color, through the oxidization process. This process can be paused like a YouTube video by slapping on honeycomb, and the effects can be reversed by using an axe or being struck by lightning! Oh yeah, I skipped over raw copper, didn't I? Yeah, that's not the only raw ore that's been added. Say goodbye to cringe old iron ore blocks and gold ore blocks, because raw iron and raw gold have arrived. This makes iron and gold fortunable. And additionally, these raw variants can be crafted into blocks of their own. Block of raw iron, block of raw copper, and, can you guess it? Block of raw gold. I'm pretty sure the block of raw copper doesn't actually oxidize, though considering they've added the oxidization process to literally every other copper block there is, I honestly think it should have. Oh, also, the ore textures have changed. Get used to it. It's to help the colorblind chaps. However, if we dig even deeper, and even lower down, we will find deep slate. It's basically a cobblestone replacement, but for those who are too deep in the caves and want to know how many variants deep slate has, too many. Cobbled deep slate, cobbled deep slate, cobbled deep slate wall, polished deep slate, polished deep slate wall, cracked deep slate brick, slabs, cracked chiseled deep slate. Oh, you think that's it? Haha, no! Deep slate diamond ores, deep slate all of these blimming ores. But of course, with all this dark and gloomy deep slate being all grey and dark and confusing, there needs to be a bit of nature, correct? Drip leaf! Big drip leaf can be obtained by any means. Even punching. It collapses after like 1.5 seconds, and after a little while, it'll just correct itself again. perfect for a painful parkour challenge. Small drip leaf is like a sapling version of the Chad big drip leaf. Small drip leaf can be found in lush caves or through monetary transactions through the wandering trader. Another wacky thing you can find in this new lush cave biome. Oh yeah, new biome by the way. Are glowberries, which are a new food item. As if you didn't have enough food already, they grow from these hanging leaf things in the caves, and along with that dollop of greenery, we get a bit of pink dabbled in through the spore blossom. The spore blossom is an overcomplicated particle lag machine, though it does look pretty stunning. Throughout this lush cave biome, you'll also discover bonsai trees! Sorry, their actual name is azalea, my bad. They grow from moss blocks. Oh, there are also ones with flowers in them too. I'm pretty sure these can be turned into a tree though. And no, there isn't a new wood type, but there's new leaves! Isn't that splendid? And yes, the moss block is a new type of block. You bone meal it, and it creates instant terraforming! It replaces blocks with moss, azalea, moss carpets, and other stunning visuals of greenery, which will probably end up being used in some exploit on 2B2T. From one new biome to another, let's take a trip over to the dripstone caves. Dripstone blocks can produce pointed dripstone, which are big pointy cave trap thingies. If it's broken and falls on top of an entity, it will do damage! If an entity falls on top of it, it'll do damage! If it has lava or water on top of it, it'll drip the liquid into the cauldrons, which means we have infinite lava farms! So now, equipped with our infinite fuel of lava buckets, can you guess what other fuel has been added to the game? The axolotl, of which can indeed be put into a bucket and used as fuel for my scrumptious meals.
Hi, this is me in post. Turns out you unfortunately cannot cook a axolotl. I know, I'm just as disappointed as you are.
It will die after being out of water for too long though, and can be forced to mate with each other through the coercion of dead tropical fishes forced into buckets. They also come in different colours, and they pretend to be dead, though whip out your netherite sword, and you could always make that game of pretend far easier on the poor fella. It'll attack drowned, guardians, elder guardians, squids, fishes,
And glow squids! Glow squids! The bane of Minecraft! Public enemy #1! I see no reason why this exists. It is a retextured squid with the same AI as a squid. It glows but doesn't produce light and drops a glowing ink sac!
The glow ink sacs can be used to make glow item frame, which makes items glow, or can be smothered onto a sign to make the sign's text glow. Speaking of glowing, glow lichen also exists. While being commonly mistaken for diamonds, it emits light in the caves, and if you bone meal it, it'll spread. It isn't climbable like the vines though, but it definitely looks like it should be. Speaking of lights, do you like a light block? It's a block only obtainable using the creative mode menu and commands, so it's probably for map makers, but it basically adds light without the source of the light being visible. But if you want a more survival friendly lighting option, candles might be a good choice. They come in 16 different colours, though they have to be lit using a fire. They're similar to sea pickles in the mechanic that you can have up to 4 of them on the same block. They can be placed underwater without being lit, and can be placed on a cake! Can you place light blocks on cakes? I didn't think so. Did I hear anyone ask for a new dirt variant? Didn't think so. But here's rooted dirt. You bone meal and you get hanging roots. So more stuff for terraformers to amaze casuals like me with it, I suppose. Stumbling back up to the surface temporarily, tinted glass now exists. You can see through the glass, but it doesn't let light from the outside world into a room. So this will undoubtedly be useful for mob farms and other things of that nature. Because as of 1.18, mobs... You know how they used to spawn in light level 7? Yeah, now they only spawn in light level 0. And for another new bio, just look up a bit. A little more, a little more. By golly, look at that! Big mountains! Nearly as big as on my subscriber count. These mountains are home to the infamous snowier snow. Or if you want to be all professional, their actual name is supposedly powdered snow. If you step on it, you sink through it, and you also get colder, as shown by this fancy effect right here. But if you stand on it with leather boots equipped, you can all of a sudden walk on top of it. Mountains are also home to goats, which occasionally scream, and they betray you and push you off of a mountain. Sounds a bit like me in some sense. But looking at this mountain, you must surely think it goes above the build limit, right? That's because it does! Or to be more accurate, it goes above the old build limit, because the build limit has been increased by 64, going from 256 blocks high to a whopping 320 blocks high. And additionally, the world has gotten 64 blocks deeper too. So now there is no bedrock at Y0 because you can drop down as far as Y-64. Which, with such brilliant worlds, how could you not be excited to litter it with your stupidly tall Among Us ornaments? But before you do that, why not share it with your mates? Because from this update forwards, Java and Bedrock versions of the game will have the same seeds. Well, as close as possible anyways. There might be a missing tree or two, but it will still get the gist of things, I promise you. Finally, there's new advancements. Let's go through them. Whatever floats your goat. Basically, you kidnap a goat, force it into your boat, and sail off into the distance with it. Wax on. Apply wax to a copper block. Wax off. Scrape wax off of a copper block. These two advancements, they also come with the added bonus of now somehow learning karate. The cutest predator. In some cases, describing famous Minecraft YouTubers. But in this case, you need to kidnap an axolotl by plunging it into a metal tub. The healing power of friendship. Commit murder with your partner in crime, the axolotl. Lo and behold, use the glow squids glow ink and smother them over a sign to make your text more readable. Light as a rabbit. Stroll on powdered snow with some nice new leather shoes. Surge Protector. Give a villager a near-death experience using lightning rods and, can you guess it? Lightning. Is it a bird? Stare down a parrot. Is it a balloon? Stare down the flying fireball firing jellyfish. Is it a plane? Stare down the blooming end boss of the game. But of course, I couldn't make all this without mentioning the brand new music disc and all of the soundtracks produced for the new update. The track will be on the bottom right of the screen, along with some pleasant Minecraft screenshots from when the Caves and Cliffs update was first released. A link to the full tracks will be in the description. I know I'm going to use some of these tracks in my animations though, I'm telling you right now. But regardless, the update is coming out in 2 days, and now you're hopefully all clued up about it. But unfortunately, the Warden, Deep Dark, and all that Sculpt stuff have been delayed for the next update with the fancy leg trees and blocks that scream! But for now, I'm going to retreat into the world of Minecraft for about a month and get lost in the Caves and Cliffs update. Have a good one.